Waiting.
Okay, now we are live. So, welcome everyone, all our listeners out there, the few and the far between, to the Gamer Den video podcast. My name is Sean Kopp. I'm your host, your gracious host, as always, this evening. With us, we have a slightly smaller motley crew than we're used to.
Less
With us,
motley.
with us is Miles Eshanique, who obviously needed to be reminded through a T-shirt that Zelda is the girl, since he
Hello
always
there.
thought.
I get
Hello.
that a lot, so I just figured this would clear things up a bit.
I feel like also too, Zelda is the game that all the gamers or all the non-gamers think that they know something about, and they try and identify. They're like, "Oh yeah, Zelda's the guy in the green." No, just
That and Mario.
yeah. Well, Mario is like probably the easiest, like most universal thing to understand. It's like
Mickey Mouse.
yeah, kind of, yeah. Well, wasn't it? It was like a study done in the 90s that like worldwide, Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog actually had become just as identifiable in numbers with the youth as Mickey Mouse, and I would probably say it might be even more so nowadays. It's probably just exponential. Um, More kids, as I mean, having a kid of my own, that they know it's weird, like sort of the relics of our childhood that come to light in the new generation. Like they know Sesame Street, like Elmo's still a thing.
That is
So,
weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
yeah,
I don't feel like Sesame Street or Elmo has quite like made the jump. I don't know.
Well, I
I
don't know.
think
I saw a Fine Brothers video where they showed old episodes of Sesame Street, and man, that thing was way different than what it is now.
it was way more. Well, I think I think
It
it's
was
interesting
less
because
PC.
I think it's interesting to think about because there we start to get into like what is universally attractive and of value, you know. So they're obviously putting in, like obviously like old Sesame Street didn't have like computers that would jump around on screen usually, but it's that the characters themselves have sort of if held true to their original creation, I guess sort of have a universal appeal. And I guess the same. I mean, we'll see if that holds true with in video game format with characters like Mario and Sonic. Now that Sega is not a company that makes consoles anymore, um, and Sonic games aren't on a regular basis very good. Um, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. So, also with us tonight, as you've already heard his voice, we also have Alex Wong this evening,
Hello.
who I don't have a joke because Alex is just too nice a guy to make fun of on a regular
That's
basis.
Okay.
that's
Hold on.
acceptable also.
Yeah.
So we
What?
accept the jokes and the non-jokes.
All right.
Um, I like your man cave setup there. I need one of those.
I think you actually, well, you haven't seen, maybe we can give the viewers a little setup. It's a work in progress. It, um, the well, it's because the viewers have basically been seeing closet space the last.
I didn't know
Uh,
that was a closet. I thought
well,
that was like,
oh yeah, okay. Well, we'll give everyone a little tour here. This is the little gamer room. So this is the door out to bar and living space there. We have the computer desk, and we'll go all the way around here. Whoa, that was it. So computer screens. Oh, about to get
Oh,
meta. About to get meta.
oh my
Uh,
goodness.
and
Inception.
yeah, and then it's like a wraparound IKEA desk going to some bookshelves, and then a little gaming coffee table there,
Oh,
and
nice.
my giant forehead. So,
And a chair to
It's a
remind you where
lovely
you
forehead.
live.
yeah,
Every man cave should have a nice German forehead.
strong forehead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought those doors went into like a hallway. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Oh, well now you know. Sometimes I'll Skype you the house. How about that?
I
We'll have a
that would
little-
be most good. I
Um,
need a man cave. I just have like my bedroom's kind of a man cave as it's ever gonna get. But
well,
there's
the one thing about calling it a man cave as it becomes completely like dominant of one sex. So that there needs to be like a certain contract, I think, between spouses that, if there is a spouse involved, that this is happening. But I in no way call this a man cave at this point because literally at any point it could be like, nope, bedroom.
Repurposed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm taking it while the getting's good.
I
Um,
have like all the makings of a man cave. I have all like the nerdy posters and stuff,
yeah.
but I don't have an actual room. So
Ah, okay.
this is
Well,
my
so it's
kitchen.
just your man living area, right?
That's
Right. It's not a man.
my
It's not a cave.
it's my adolescent boy domicile thing. Sure.
Fair enough. So, what's new with you, Alex?
No, not much. How about you, Sean?
Um, I've been working. Pretty soon we're getting into brewing season. I'm gonna have a lot of work ahead of me on that. I'm developing like a new brewing system, so that'll be exciting when that actually happens. Excuse me for a moment. Um, and let's see, what else is going on? My brother's graduating college. He was a super senior this year, so we're gonna have a nice dinner on Saturday. And then my birthday's coming up at the end of the month, so we're gonna have a little
Yay!
housewarming party for family and friends, and do a little bit of celebrating on both fronts. So,
Very
Two people
nice.
have awesome birthdays.
what's
You and
that?
somebody else.
What about awesome birthdays?
You and somebody else has an awesome birthday at the same time.
Oh, we share a birthday, right?
That's correct.
That's right.
Really?
I
I didn't
forgot
know it was
about.
on the same day.
Yeah, I remember that. May 29th, right?
C.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty crazy.
Spanish.
Well, for you listeners that want to send us something, our addresses will be made available upon request.
And
Uh,
Steam names for gifting. I mean,
yeah, there you
just
go.
gonna throw it out
Actually, I'm a
there.
little behind the ball because Miles gifted me Dream for Christmas, and I haven't gotten him anything. When's your birthday, Miles?
January.
It
Oh,
already
okay.
passed.
I missed the
Haha.
ball.
I
Um,
forgot that I got you, Dream. And you
yeah,
haven't probably played it at all.
I haven't yet, but every time I look at it on Steam on my list, I'm like, oh, I feel guilty. I should play that.
You don't
Um,
have to. It's fine. I
no,
understand.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna play it at some point, unless I perish in the near future. So, is my camera fuzzy for most people, or
It's all right.
It's a little
I've
bit.
had worse.
I can see Miles pretty clearly. Let me see if I can reset the thing. Nope, no dice. Whew, whew, nope. Okay. Anyways, on to more riveting entertainment. Tonight's episode, just like a good board game played with less people, it might go a little shorter. But I'd like to start with the story of the week from everyone. So, Alex, do you have a story of the week this week?
In particular, this just came up today, and I'm not going to say I'm doing it now, but the Google homepage for today is a Rubik's Cube.
Yep. If I had any idea how to do a Rubik's Cube, I would probably have tried it. But
Yeah, I'm obsessed with trying to figure out how to do a Rubik's Cube. I've never successfully completed it, so
that's
now
a
I can
bucket
try.
list thing of mine, I think. But not to use a guide, just to just wing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Try not to use a guide.
Well, I
Know
suppose
that.
it's a game and well, it's a game puzzle, I guess. It is a puzzle more than a game, I guess, but it's also the sort of thing where you probably need to learn like certain rules by trial and error.
Yeah.
Like these rules apply towards getting this thing open. I've never been any more of a light tester of the Rubik's Cube, I guess. The colors are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact,
Other than
that's
that, I'm gonna say the gaming story of the week is gonna be the Watch Dogs. Have you seen the Watch Dogs trailer sort of thing? It's a live
every
action
Watchdog
one.
trailer I've seen. Oh, actually, I might have seen that. Yeah.
The live action
I,
one where they
yeah.
steal the guy's phone or somebody's phone, and
I
then
feel like I saw it at work briefly, like on the TV that I was passing by.
Yeah, they have it on like YouTube ads, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this one. And basically, what happens is customer comes in, random customer comes in, and the guy, and they have a problem with their phone, so they give it to the guy, and the guy goes, okay. He goes into the back, comes out with a different phone similar to theirs, and says, okay, it's fixed. I also installed this special app for you. And he goes, here, let me test it out for you. And he says, yeah, I can turn on and off the lights. And then he goes, you know what else we can do? Let's go outside. And they go outside, and he points it at a car, and he goes, look, I can unlock this car. And he presses the app on the phone, and the car unlocks. And so they go throughout this whole thing where he's showing off what you can possibly do in Watch Dogs, and then at the end, like they change all the lights on the street lights, so all the street lights are green, and he causes this huge accident. Hands the phone back to the customer, and the cops arrive, and he goes, "Don't worry, I'll handle this." And he tells the cops that guy did it. He hacked it with his phone, and so the cops start questioning him, and they take his phone, and apparently, I guess throughout the time that they have their phone, they scroll over to a screen, and they show him, was this what you were doing? And then he reads the screen, and it says, this is all the stuff that you can do in the video game Watch Dogs.
Huh. Seems like slightly cool, slightly corny.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a little corny.
Is that a Ubisoft game?
That's
yeah.
a good question. It
is.
Seems like
Okay.
It's a Ubisoft game.
I'm. You know what? If Watch Dogs had come out at launch, I would have been like, okay, buying it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I can wait. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like I'm gonna wait for reviews. If it's like a 9.5 out of 10 or something, yeah, I'll pick it up. I'll roll with it. But I'm not jumping on the train yet.
Yeah, I had that game pre-ordered too when it was at launch. It was a launch bundle, I believe, and then they said the game was getting delayed, so then the bundle obviously was getting delayed.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't. It's kind of off my radar at this point, just because I'm trying to make like a conscious effort to tackle some of my backlog. I wrote an article about it actually for our website. I don't know if anyone's read it yet.
No, I think we need to raise awareness about that, and also I need to start writing some things on it.
Well, I don't think it's gone live yet, so.
No, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make the domain and stuff, but the website's looking good so far. I just gotta figure out how the domain is gonna work and stuff like that. But other than that, we're good to go. I think. I just wait. I think everyone would have to write their bios if they want one featured, but I mean, I think it's a good start so far.
Yeah, I think the site looks really good, and we'll keep any listeners that we have updated on new content or when the site is going live. So, Alex, you're saying story of the week is hype on Watch Dogs.
Yes, especially since it's coming out next week.
Coming out next week. What is that? So the
27th.
That'll be the 25th. I thought.
Well, next week, as in the 27th, it comes out.
Yeah, tomorrow's Tuesday, a week from then, 27.
They normally come out on Tuesdays.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've been thinking of something else. Maybe I'm thinking like it comes out on the. Maybe it comes out on the 25th on Steam. No, May 27th. You're correct. I know what I was thinking. Miles, you got a story of the week this week?
I just haven't really had anything really memorable. I've been seeing a lot about Heroes of the Storm. That's what's been kind of piquing my interest lately, but I still don't have any. I signed up for the beta and all that, or not like the beta, but I put in, it's kind of like a general form you submit to Blizzard, and they kind of decide if you're going to get into the beta or not.
Right.
But I haven't gotten anything on that, so that's kind of the thing I've been keeping my eye on, just try and figure out more about it. From what I've seen on Reddit, it's just that it's going to be pretty much League of Legends, essentially, in terms of the business model. Oh, and which is to be expected. It kind of seems like they're going that route the way they did Hearthstone, and even with WoW in prior years to Hearthstone, they kind of been having those in-game purchases. You can buy mounts and vanity items and stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see a big company shifting that way. The subscription numbers for WoW, I think, are down to 8 million now, so they've kind of been steadily dropping here over the past couple months. I don't know if the new expansion pack is going to reinvigorate that, or if it's kind of
I'm
I
sure it will for about like 5 months or so.
I think it'll breathe a little bit of life, and then it'll kind of peak back. I think it's on the downhill.
I think
Just
WoW is essentially becoming a game where we're like, and I'm not saying this like because we're unique in any way, but it does make a lot of sense to play the game now, especially for players that have been there for so long, to dip into the game for about 3 months at a time and then be like, okay, we're gonna take a break again, because it feels familiar enough, and it's kind of like one of those things where like it's League of Legends or it's any sort of like online multiplayer uh, game where you're comfortable enough with it where you go back to it for entertainment and then you dip out. Like and WoW seems like they're fine doing that. Like they're fine with that. I don't know. Obviously, like I think it'd be impossible for Blizzard not to recognize that the time of the golden age of WoW has come and gone.
yeah.
But it's not that there's not money to be made.
Mhm.
It's just less than when they were, the Roman Empire of video games.
No, yeah. I mean, I just think that genre has largely fallen off, and so what is happening now is they're kind of slowly integrating or shifting their business model towards the free to play and kind of like just the bite-sized bits of content, and you could
Well, I say they're shifting their MMO to
not.
sort of that free to play, but I think they'll always still have their RTS and their adventure games. I think they'll always do that because those have a huge following worldwide.
I think that like that's going to be kind of like their cash cow in a way, like that's kind of like their steady source of income.
You're
But
talking about the free to play stuff?
I'm no wow,
Oh yeah,
that's kind of like just like their steady as she goes kind of source of income. And then these newer games that are coming out, I think, are just going to be with the release of new skins or expansion packs, card packs for Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. It's going to be a big influx of income, just like League of Legends when they release their champions. It's going to be
sure.
very like spiky, volatile. But WoW is just going to be kind of a steady stream. I'm
I
just
think I
wondering
think
how it's going to affect their development, like what they're going to allocate
yeah.
for.
Well,
I want a big huge Blizzard kick these days, so pardon
yeah.
my.
No kidding. I think that Blizzard is recognizing that with these games like Valve putting out Dota with League of Legends with card games like Duel of Champions from Ubisoft and then you have like Dawngate, which a few of our members have been big into. I think that they recognize that it is a very different market out there in the PC world, which is where they thrive. And so I think right now they're not in any trouble at all, like not at all. But I think right now they're testing things out.
hmm
I think it'll be interesting if Heroes of the Storm ever gets to be as big at once beta's out as League of Legends, if it ever surpasses WoW as far as money making.
Yeah.
It probably won't because, well, maybe it will, but well, League of Legends hasn't even come close probably, but it's still a huge money maker.
hmm
Um, I think it'll be interesting to see what the revenue system is like with those games. Yeah, I think it's a really exciting market. I think that there's a lot of potential, and especially with if you have on one end Heroes of the Storm, and on the other end you have Dota 2. Heroes of the Storm is, it sounds like from what I've heard, the more approachable MOBA because you don't need to worry about creep score. You don't need to worry about buying items. It's basically a build similar to StarCraft 2, where you basically pick one of two options as you go up, as you level up throughout the game. And then sometimes they'll give you three or four options. but that's basically how you build your characters by just picking modifications on your abilities and also like different maybe active abilities. Um, and basically, if you score a kill, like if you're carrying the team, all the gold doesn't necessarily just go to you; it goes to your whole team. So there's less like you. I imagine it would be inciting less rage than a lot of the other
Yeah.
MOBAs
Yeah.
because it's less you suck and more like, hey man, we need to applaud this guy because he just got me to level 16. Um, I think it's an interesting way to go about it. So. And
Yeah, it'll be
I'm
really
super excited. I'm super excited for when it comes out because it looks great. I've seen it streamed. A few of the guys on the Hearthstone podcast that I listen to, they got beta keys and everything. Or what is it, alpha right now? I guess it's alpha.
alpha. Yeah, it would be
I would
alpha.
as- I would
Closed
assume,
beta, I
I
assume.
would assume it's about to go. It'll be an open beta at some point, just like
I,
Hearthstone.
yeah, that's kind of what's on my radar at the moment. And because that'll be a free-to-play game, there's not really any games I'm looking to buy anytime soon. Nothing's really on the horizon for me. Watch Dogs, like you said, I just don't. I don't know. So that's kind of my,
Basically, nothing on my radar is like insistent of my time until September
yeah, Destiny.
Destiny.
when Destiny comes out.
Yeah.
Like nothing else right now is like I feel like I'm a bad gamer if I don't play this. Like I have really casual like needs as far as what to play. Like I just played a game of Dota today, and I just played a game of League of Legends today, and then I played some Hearthstone. It's all over the map right now, so it's nice to have sort of like a wait when you're like when a close knit group of friends or your family is playing games. It's nice to have that little bit of breathing room in the year to be like, all right, I don't need to feel like I'm not at somebody else's level. I don't need to feel like I'm missing out on something right now. It's really nice to have that breathing room, and I feel like we're in that little
Lol.
breath right now. Yeah, we're in the calming yoga session right now
Yeah,
of gaming.
that's correct.
So, my story of the week this week, I think that the story of the week absolutely is YouTube as a company buying out Twitch.
I saw that.
I think, and this is second. Okay, my secondary story of the week is they announced Halo 5. But for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, that was gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, cool. Let me know what you got when you got the game. Like I think it's different for like kids who just have one console and they're like, God, I'm so tired of playing Forza or like, like they're just like, give me a freaking new game. So they gotta wait for Destiny or like Halo 5 to come out. I mean, I used to be that kid, but now I'm a PC gamer, and there's too much to worry about.
That's
So,
exactly right. There's too
exactly.
much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, hey, man, when you got your game done, no problem. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna play it. But right now, you announce a game and it's coming out like when Star Wars Episode 7 is coming out. Can't be bothered worrying about it.
That's
But the
exactly right. I definitely when you're. I have. God, sorry.
He's on
no, but
board with what you're saying.
yeah, picking up what I'm putting down.
Preach it.
Yeah.
But the one nifty thing that I thought about that is that it's a brand new engine. So obviously it kind of has to be with a new system. But I thought it was pretty exciting that we're going to see Halo in a brand new engine from 343 Industries. So, but as far as YouTube buying Twitch, I mean, you guys watch Twitch on a regular basis?
I
No.
no. I used to when I was into League a bit more, like
Yeah.
probably probably like 4 or 5 months ago now. I would watch Skara sometimes, but other
Sure.
than that, I don't really have an interest in watching someone else play games when I could be playing games, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not
Um,
really relevant to me, I guess. I don't know.
And I'm surprised actually more people aren't like you, Miles. Where like when Twitch when I first became acquainted with Twitch, I thought it was fine to watch how people played the game as far as League of Legends went, and some other games and get entertainment out of it. People playing old N64 games for nostalgia. Now Now, I truly understand it. For the people that are on lunch break, or I'm out like waiting for my oil to be changed or something, you don't need a Wi-Fi connection. You can literally watch somebody play Hearthstone on your phone or on your Kindle or anything like that on your iPad, and you can at least like sort of live vicariously through someone else's experience if you like to be immersed in sort of the gaming world. You get to learn even when you're not playing, and you also get to be learn you get to learn things from someone else's perspective, which I think is valuable, and also it's very entertaining as well. I think there's a lot of people out there that are trying to make a living with Twitch. I think that's the wrong way to go. Um, it's obviously fantastic for streaming Championship, League of Legends, Dota, fighting games, any sort of championship like that for mass viewership. Um, Now at my new place, I was thinking about, I have Twitch on my Xbox, and then we have it next to, we have the TV next to the bar. I was thinking, well, next time that we have an LCS or we have like a League of Legends thing, I'm gonna have my brothers over and we're gonna have a party, watch
Yeah.
pros play League of Legends just like it were the Super Bowl.
Yeah. That would
Um,
be that's a good application for it, I think.
yeah,
But the thing that like, just for me, like, I mean, I could have something up on the other monitor maybe, but even then, there's not a lot of games I play aside from Hearthstone that I got your kind of coaching on, but there's not a lot of games I play that I really feel like I need that feedback or that.
yeah,
But I mean, for League of Legends, I liked listening to. There was a podcast, I cannot remember what it's called. You listen to it as well,
yeah.
but
Low elo?
Low
Oh, you
Elo,
will.
that's right. So I like listening to them at work because you can kind of just get little tidbits and different ways of thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not something I would tune into unless it was
Well, the
some
one thing for me,
significant
and then
event.
I'll pass it off to Alex and hear his thoughts, is that as a father and as like now a homeowner, like there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of demands in life, and not always do I have the chance to sit down for 45 minutes and play a game of League of Legends or anything, which is why Hearthstone is a little bit more appealing to me. But also, if I just want to like take a break, or for example, if I'm cleaning up downstairs, I can actually be like Xbox on, go to Twitch, and then I can watch somebody play Hearthstone or watch somebody play League of Legends out of, in my periphery, right? Yeah. Uh, when I'm getting stuff done. And so for me, in that way, I'm not a big TV viewer on a regular basis. I'll usually eat through a season of something. Uh, but this has become like sort of a TV substitute for me, in that I have all these channels, and then I can watch these subsets of these channels. I can watch the game be played by different communities, different types of players, more entertaining players, more strategic players, and at least it's an option for entertainment when you yourself can't game.
Yeah, and that's just it. And then also if you're trying to get back into it, like let's say Miles wants to start playing League of Legends again, he could watch a couple games, see what people are using nowadays, see
Yeah.
Yeah,
how the meta has
it's
changed.
very useful as an
Yeah,
educational tool.
yeah. So
Well,
knowing that there's a new champion that just came out, you're not too sure if you want to pick him up or see what he does, and watching tutorials on how their skills work really doesn't give you the feeling of
Yeah.
how actually you would play this character. So you can go on Twitch and check out
or
some
what
tips
move you
of
would
how
max
they
first or
use it.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as YouTube acquiring Twitch, I mean, besides for a business deal, do you think there's going to be any sort of cross pollination between the two, or what do you guys envision having these two brands sort of next to each other, or at least being owned by each other? Do you think that Twitch is going to remain sort of a solo entity?
I think it will remain a solo entity, although YouTube Let's Plays are huge.
Yeah.
So I could see, a YouTube promoting Twitch and people actually watching it because people watching Let's Plays, especially me, I watch a whole bunch of Let's Plays on Achievement Hunter.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes, you see a game oh, I don't play the game of life, all the time. So let's watch and see how they play it and have fun with them too. So yeah, I could see them going back and forth uh, through Twitch
I
and
think if you imagine like how much maybe like sponsorships and ad money they could get by a week before Watch Dogs releases. Well, that's probably a bad example because nobody wants the spoilers. Let's say a week before Heroes of the Storm goes into open beta. They're like, okay, we're doing a tournament with some of the top ranked players of MOBAs, and we're putting it live on YouTube. Like, I think that would be, I think you'd see people watching in the hundred thousands, like several hundred thousands.
I guess
Or
like
like a week before StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 2, what's the Protoss campaign? What's it going to be?
Heart of the Swarm already came out, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
There's a
it's
different
like
one. I
something
have
of
no
the
idea what
Nexus,
that's
or I
called.
don't know. Like all the Blizzard names are just like Heroes of Warcraft, uh, Heart of the Swarm, um,
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, and then what's the like the oh what's the MOBA again? I'm a little
Heroes of
tired
the
tonight.
Storm.
All
Heroes
right,
of the
so yeah, so
Storm.
Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone,
Heart
Heroes
of
of
the Storm.
Warcraft, Heroes of the Nexus, Protoss.
There are so many
It's,
heroes.
it's just like there's just lots of heroes. But I don't know. I think it could be really exciting because for me, all it says like with this Twitch, like basically Twitch, in my opinion, like it made G4 and like XPlay kind of stuff just feel like bye bye. Like
Yeah, yeah.
now we don't need to listen to like two people who we're not sure if we share the game or the same gaming passions. Now we can just completely nix your like phony TV bullshit
That's
and
exactly
like
right.
yeah.
I would like to see the Spike Video Game Awards done away with too in the same fashion and just kind of get all
Oh, I'd
that.
like to see a nuclear bomb drop on the site, and just be like, oh, Samuel L. Jackson. What was the last game you played? Oh, what?
Pong.
I didn't hear you. Yeah, have you played any games? Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's laughable.
I just would like I don't know, it's kind of interesting to think about though because if you kind of subvert all that cuz like you're saying with like G4 and what was the other one you had said?
Spike? Is it, or well, I said X-Play, which
X-Play?
was a show
Okay,
on
okay.
before.
So it's interesting when you see like the mainstream kind of capitalize on those sort of avenues and
Right.
like they try and spin it as like, oh, we're one of you, and it's like you're really not though. Like
Yeah, just we're
there's a
gonna tune in for your trailers and your bullshit, but yeah, don't
there's
don't
just a
waste your today.
disconnect and you don't really take any of their words at like face value. It just feels really disingenuous. But it's interesting to think that now we have Google, who owns YouTube, is now acquiring Twitch. They
Twitch.
just bought Nest 6 months ago, something like that. It's been a while. So then it's like funny to see this land grab that's going on by Google right now.
Yeah,
And I'm just
they're gonna rule the world.
well, yeah, and I mean it's just kind of
At least Facebook owns Oculus Rift.
it's just funny to think
Yeah.
about to me like how I'm sure there are a lot of people that aren't seeing like, oh, YouTube bought Twitch, not Google bought Twitch. There's a step
Right.
that's missing.
All
So I
right.
mean,
All right.
I'm
There's
just kind of
tiers.
I'm being
There's tiers
cynical
of
about it
ownership.
here.
I think that is something to at least like be concerned about and be like, well, like where at least be aware of where is technology and our entertainment like being sourced to?
I'm just
Like it's something to think about. I do think that as far as I mean, going back to G4 and everything, and going back to the VAGs or whatever they are.
the badges.
No, VGAs.
There you go. Oh, sorry.
Oh man.
The Vosh Awards.
The
That's a
vibe.
whole different thing.
Completely different.
Yeah, no, the VGAs. They they do feel very phony in a way, and I think that Twitch feels very genuine. Like it's just like people having fun with video games, and also like even if they're not like that entertaining, at least they're just being like douchebags. Like
Yeah,
it's very real. It's just
very, yeah.
people that you don't have much experience with sharing an experience with you in a way. So they're like for example, if I went to someone at work and I was like, "Hey, what do like? Do you play video games?" "Yeah, I play League of Legends." Like, we would immediately have sort of like an understanding of like, "Oh, what's your best role?" "Oh, I like to play tanks and beefy characters." So there's already that sort of like you come in at the base level right there, or like like we at least have some sort of shared experience. And Twitch does that over the internet and entertainment form, where it's like almost one way. So. I don't know. I'm excited to see what's on board, and I'm excited to see that they're doing well. I'm not so excited to see like conglomerates getting bigger, even if they are Google. But
Yeah.
it's uh, it's exciting,
I'm just
at least to see it go mainstream.
I would like for this Twitch like experience to be a little more streamlined. I feel like the when you try and chat with um the person who's streaming, it's kind of
Yeah.
just
Oh
it
yeah.
needs
Well,
to
there's
be a
so many
little.
douchebags. Like yeah, it's well the one thing that they do have is that a lot of streamers will turn on sub mode, which is subscriber mode, and then they'll be able to talk with just the people that are paying them like $5 a month or something for
Okay,
entertainment.
okay.
The
I didn't
people
know
that
that
are
was a
like,
thing.
well, it's because there's so many people that are just spammers or like will spam links on Twitch. That's the one thing that they need to get around, or they need to get around like the people that just make fake accounts.
Hmm.
If it becomes more of an entertainment thing, like I don't want to pay any money to watch people play video games, really. But
I imagine that it won't be. Just if you look at YouTube, that never has been. You watch a lot of
no,
ads.
you get a lot of ads, but it's still
Yeah.
free. So
Yeah.
and you can tune out the ads. So it's like the new Axe body spray or something. Like it's completely forgettable to me. It's just like yeah, you're gonna do your thing. I'm gonna do something else for 30 seconds while you spit in my ears.
Yeah.
Uh, So, after story of the week, what have you guys been playing this week? Let's talk about some video games and some board games and
Can we talk about the Vaj again?
Is that what you've been
it's just an
playing,
award.
Miles?
It's just an award show. I think it takes place in Vegas. I think there's some like there's like some pasties involved. Like
Most likely.
Ah. Alex, go.
All right, I have been playing Dawngate, which hasn't been going too well only because Dawngate seems to keep on crashing my entire computer. And
Oh shit.
I get like halfway
it's
into
K, it's in beta, bro.
well, yeah, I know, but yeah, and it seems to be happening to a lot of people, and it could be. I've been told by Blaine that it could be NVIDIA graphics card, which I don't have, so it's probably not the
I'm
graphics
not buying that.
card.
Probably something internally in the game.
Yeah, well, maybe Windows 7 instead of Windows 8. Who knows? But
I haven't had any trouble with it on mine,
first
and I'm
impressions
running
of it,
7.
first impressions of it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was um, a little confusing, which all games are at the beginning, especially
Especially MOBAs.
multiplayer.
Yeah.
Multiplayer games are extremely confusing. I wasn't quite sure which ones were supports or which ones were carries, tanks,
Right.
but you kind of figure out that anybody could play anything,
Yeah.
and
The
any
game's kind of
character.
designed around that.
Yeah,
That's what
Why
I've
don't you
seen it as,
why
yeah.
don't you explain why that is, Alex?
well, first off, you don't have any mana, so it's all health, and you can choose during the champions, which they call what are they called?
They're called
Shifters?
shapers.
Shapers? Yeah, so you select a shaper and you select a role. And so and based on what role you get bonuses. So if you select the hunter, I think the hunter gives you,
It gives you bonus damage to jungle monsters
yeah,
and bonus XP,
yeah.
I
If
think.
you're an
Um,
assassin, you get extra gold for killing other shapers.
right.
And
So
They're
this basically takes the place in some ways of your masteries page in League of
right.
Legends, where you basically get buffs for saying I'm gonna play this half an hour game with this intent, whether it's gonna be to farm, whether it's gonna be to gank, whether it's gonna be to jungle, or whether it's gonna be to there's another one like to like do like
Harass.
interrupts and yeah harass and interrupts, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to get get on and play because there's two lanes, so and if you don't jungle, it's very easy because you're playing with somebody else. They can show you, you could take a support role for now. They can show you how things work. Um, and then once you get more comfortable with the game, you can select the assassin's role or the select AD carry role where you focus on killing minions and or killing other shapers.
See,
So
that's the thing though, is like as if you choose to go the what stance is it? It's like the protection or something like that. I forget what it's like hunter, protector, uh, predator, stuff like that.
yeah,
It's
Predator.
they're all described. But if you go the you get more XP from killing minions, then basically like the offside of that is that so AD carry like basically they could farm to a certain point in League of Legends and then they could just go to like just killing people, right? And
Right.
then they would start getting gold that way. This is different in that you don't get bonuses for killing people. You only get bonuses throughout the game. I mean, you do get like money for killing enemy shapers, but you get you get the most money and the most experience, at least, from just killing minions and pushing lanes. And so that's kind of interesting to me in that like you shine in one role and you're able to benefit from one role that you select no matter what champion you pick. But you sort of have diminishing returns when you decide to take your character to go do something else, whether it be gank someone or like start just like going around killing people.
Yeah, I saw the game advertised. I've seen it pop up in a few banner ads and stuff, and the advertisement is Dawngate break the meta. It's kind of interesting that they're kind of like that's their like their platform that they're running
Yeah.
with. It's kind of interesting to
Or
me.
like Heroes of New Earth, I would see them pop up on Mobile Fire and it would say, "Stop laughing and get real."
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking the lol game.
So
Like it's
cheesy,
just so
but
it's just
it's funny. But I don't know. Like I played a game. I played one game, and I was like, I'm just not. I don't know. Just didn't
well,
catch
here's the
it at
thing is
all.
like it's kind of like going into a new MMO. Like it's just like if it doesn't grab you right away, then there's a time there's a time investment involved.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
learning curve to me
At least
was
to get good.
yeah.
Right.
I don't even know if we won or lost. I no, we lost, but I just was so uninterested. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I played League, it was like, oh, okay. I don't know. Something about League's UI and the graphics just makes it really like I don't know what there is about League that just
It's very shiny.
yeah. Well,
Bold
Hearthstone is too.
colors.
It's just
Right.
something that's just kind of like really visually pleasing. The sounds are nice, and like I can't help but feel with other games, like with Dota and with Dawngate, Heroes of New Earth I played, like something's just not quite clicking for me. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's particularly gameplay related or if it's aesthetic or what, but something just it just gets lost in translation and just doesn't really grab me the way it grabbed Alex and Blaine and Austin. I know they've been playing it for a couple days here now, so
I played a couple.
hey.
So here's a picture of it, and
Some of the style, the
yeah,
artwork. Yeah, so this is the werewolf guy kind of like on the outside, lycanthrope, or he's the lycanthrope character.
it's a very Asian, I think, style to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played the Master of Masks or something. He had like this little. It
It's
was
on
kind of
free to
funny
play
though.
rotation.
Yeah, it was funny. I enjoyed him because he was like narrating what he was doing, and it was like really like tongue in cheek. And he's
Yeah.
like, "I must, the hero returns," and then you go back to base and you buy something, and then it's just funny that he's like, I don't know, just kind of. I enjoyed that aspect of it, but
The one thing, like, okay, so I'd like to make 2 points. One is that I think that a lot of like World of Warcraft or like people that would lean towards World of Warcraft have now just been like completely consumed by the MOBA gameplay. Like I think that they like that competitive nature and like learning about sort of like the systems and the characters like a lot more, and it's more easily like you're 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 more able to be rewarded in games like League of Legends because it doesn't require the time commitment to be rewarded. Like every
mm,
new game is a new character in sort of a way, you know, like it's you don't I mean maybe there's a different kind of reward from taking a champ from 1 to 90, but you know, there is sort of that thing about like playing there's a reward of being a boss in one game, and there's also a reward of being a boss character. Be like, dude, this guy plays Jax, and he's like sick with them, or like, oh
yeah.
yeah, you know, like Leona, this guy's Leona is legit, you know. Like there's sort of that, you know, like all-purpose reward. So I think that where we saw a lot of kids like when they were younger going into, and I'm seeing this with my brothers right now where we saw they would go into, you know, World of Warcraft, or they even before that they'd go into Warcraft or Command and Conquer, things like this.
Command and Conquer,
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
throwback.
they, you know, like every sort of, you have sort of these hot flashes for, or not hot flashes, yeah, right.
Savage and hot
Yeah,
flash.
that was on
We
the
know
mind.
what's on your mind.
Yeah, exactly. No, but if we were to, you know, like say each generation sort of has this like iconic everyone was playing it at the time. Like for me it was you know, everyone was playing GoldenEye and Star Fox on the N64, you know, and then Perfect Dark after that. So that was like everyone sort of had that common ground. And then everyone had that WoW experience growing up, you know. And now I think everyone we're getting to the point where you know, once League of Legends and Dota 2 at least kind of like die off, which probably will be in like the next 10 years, I'd say, we're going to have that highly elevated MOBA where there's a lot of character to it. We're seeing some of that character in the characterization of each of the shapers that you play. Uh, you know, they're a little bit more lively. They have more sort of like integration with the system. Like they're, I don't know, maybe integration is not the right word. They, you know, they interact with other characters and they talk to you and uh, they sort of have a different, more lively place in this sort of arena. I think we're going to see more and more of a refined MOBA system coming into play because that's just where the market's taking us. I think that it's a very universal system and gameplay, and I think we're going to see some. So that's my prediction for the next 10 years. Mobiles will take off. My other prediction for the next few years is single player games will die out.
Hmm.
I think we're seeing that happen, and
Yeah.
it's it's uncomfortable.
It is very
Like
uncomfortable.
we're talking about things like I mean we still have a
I feel like that's
few.
an elephant in the room, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like that's. I feel like we should probably talk about that, if not tonight, then at some point. Is that there's games, you know, like the one game that thought was like, oh, this is a single player game that I have to try was Last of Us,
Yeah.
and it was like, and I was still okay with not playing it. You know, I didn't bust my balls to go play it. Um, we're in an age now with internet and connectivity that it's a lot more fun and rewarding to be better at something than someone else. And that, oh, I know Miles is going to disagree with me there, but it's a lot more fun for a lot of people to go into competition against another person and be better at the game than them, or to at least learn something about the game. Prove me wrong, Miles.
No, I'm fine with that. I just, the thing that keeps like nagging at me in my mind as we talk about more and more things on the podcast, it, I feel like this new format for the podcast, it's kind of meta in a way. We've started to talk a lot more about like kind of like our insights and our projections on the future of gaming. And I find it very interesting because the thing that always pops into my mind as we're talking about all these things is Nintendo. Last week, I think you were in the bathroom or something to that effect, and that's why I thought that was a hallway because I could have sworn you walked out of
Oh,
that door.
I exit stage left.
Yeah, maybe that's why I thought you left that
Um,
way. I don't
I
know.
just
Anyways, um, so what we were talking about there is that maybe the characters have stayed very static and they haven't
yeah,
aged with us. And
yeah,
so we're just kind of talking about how maybe because the characters haven't aged and gotten grittier, and that's kind of seems to be the trend for, I mean, even with the Harry Potter franchise, very innocent. There's not a lot of gravity to the characters' actions in the first couple books, but as it ramped up, people are dying. I mean, it just kind of stuff gets really heavy. And with
mm,
Nintendo, there's never really any of that sense of loss. There's no gravity to anything you do because in the next game, the princess is back, the Bowser's back, Mario's back. No one's hurt. Everyone's okay. He didn't cut off her like arm or something when he was holding her captive. There's nothing like. There's just no implications to
there's
anything
no
that goes
drama.
on in those. Exactly right. And so when we're talking about how the single player game is dying off as well, when you think about the games that excel on Nintendo platforms, Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and Mario Party, I think that's largely irrelevant now. Even
Oh yeah,
I think that they just don't have any software that allows for that level of competition outside of Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, but those are just not. They've fallen by the wayside, and because they're
yeah,
not offering that element of competition, I just think there's a lot of facets of Nintendo of why they're failing. I guess it's kind of
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It would be interesting to sort of do a general, like an episode, generally encompassing our thoughts on Nintendo and their origins and everything. Now they're talking about that Nintendo, they might direct the company towards more of a lifestyle company, where
I
they're
could see
making
that.
like with like for example We Fit, and do we see like things like the Pokemon counter and stuff like that, the walking counter, where they're actually like they seem to excel really as a technology creator. We see that with the DS, we see that with the Wii. They like make the tech, and then they sort of there you go, and
It's
then
my
the
Fitbit.
infrastructure, there you go, and then
It's not Nintendo related, but yeah.
it's something it's something that could be though,
Yes, exactly right.
that could absolutely be developed by Nintendo, which will be sad to see if they decide to go that route and direct their company or allocate more money towards those sort of devices. But what are you gonna do? Uh,
Well, like we talked about as well, if they were to do something, I get a huge kick out of Street Pass. And if they were to somehow integrate a pedometer,
it's a huge failing that they
yeah,
haven't done. Yeah, like come
I, I
on.
I think I love Street Passes. It's like a little
Yeah.
when you see that little green line on the DS, it's like a little
Well, everyone
shot
likes
of
to
heroin.
feel to be a. Everyone likes to feel like they're a part of a world bigger than they are,
Yeah,
right? And everyone likes to feel also that people are sharing in certain experiences with them, and that's what Street Pass does. Um, it'll, and but it's so minor of like, hi, I'm I'm Bill. I like dogs. I've been playing Donkey Kong recently, and it's like, oh, dude, I like Donkey Kong, and it's
it's
like
so like
it's so
mundane.
stupid. But think about what it could be,
Yeah,
like, and that's where Nintendo has really dropped the ball. This this sort of like
not even this
coming
generation,
into
the
the
past like
yeah
decade.
yeah, coming into like these next generations, they just drop the ball over and over and over again, where you don't even want to pass it to them anymore. So it's like,
Yeah, it's like me in gym class.
There you go. That sounds about right.
And
But then,
Nintendo, if you want to take any of the ideas, you can send a check to 869 Abbott Street. I'm just kidding.
actually,
Send it to
that's in
Sean.
Minnesota.
Send it
There
to
you go.
Sean.
I will.
He's the
I will.
wisest of us.
I take no credit, but I will allocate money appropriately. Uh, so, uh, where did we leave off? We were talking about Alex was saying he was playing
Dawngate.
Dawngate.
Dawngate, right? Okay. Wow, we really went around the ball on that, didn't we?
It's nice. It's nice.
It is nice. Okay, well, as far as what I've been playing, I played Resistance. I played Seven Wonders, two board games that I'm very fond of with my brothers when we had all six over at my house, including Christopher. And then the others would be Matt, Steven, Gabe, and Peter, all playing games. So fantastic board games. Resistance is a great social experiment game similar to Mafia. I highly recommend that.
You
Also,
can see that on our YouTube channel.
oh, that's right, you can, and that's quite an embarrassing, yeah, video. And then also, I have we had Seven Wonders on the docket. That's sort of a strategy card playing game, empire building game, relatively simple to learn. I had my worst game of Seven Wonders playing against like
What was your score?
it was like 22. It was like
Oh,
so bad.
that might be
And
the
then,
lowest.
well, Christopher was sitting to my right, so I got completely shut down.
Kept taking all
Uh,
the science cards.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I made the mistake in playing a science card like right off the bat. It was like turn two, and he was like, "Okay, he's not getting a science card for the rest of
That's
the
I
game."
hate that so
Like,
much. You
son
gotta
of a-
you kind
Well,
of
because
gotta
then
like
you kind of need you play this little like poker game with him two of
yeah.
the rounds, and you're like, "Well, is this the hand that you've dealt me, or is this the hand that I've been dealt?" Like it's
It's
kind
like
of like
I don't like science for that reason. It's like
yeah.
you get if they're even the little bit the least bit like conscientious of like what you're playing, like oh I'm gonna burn
The one
that
thing I
science
do like
card.
about science cards, and we should probably go into the mechanics of the game if we're going to talk any further about it, is the science cards actually build into both victory points, flat victory points, and also military might. So they don't like just build into science. You know what I'm saying? Like you could take a science card that actually builds into that builds into or victory points and like military might, and be like, okay, well, I'm not going to play a science card the rest of the game. If I get one of these, then I'm building into it.
They're very versatile, and that's
They
what I
are.
like about them.
Yeah.
They're
And
the
that's,
most they branch out the most out of any card in the game.
yeah,
So
I like
that's
it. So basically, the premise of Seven Wonders, if you haven't played it before, is that you are given a civilization on a board which has sort of special powers, and then everyone is dealt. There's three ages that you play, and every age you're dealt a hand of seven cards, and everyone at the same time will play one card, allocate any costs that need to be dealt out, or if you need to pay a neighbor for some of their resources or something, you'll play a card, and then what you'll do is you'll pass your card to the next person, and then the next person either rotates to your left or your right, and so they're getting the hand minus one card that you previously had. And so there's this sort of game of like building up your empire by playing these cards, and also sort of like denying your opponent specific cards that might be helpful for them. It's a really fantastic game. It's won several awards. It has a couple expansions, I believe, both cities and leaders, if I remember correctly, and and it's relatively cheap. It's about $40. You can get it on Amazon for pretty cheap. Let's see here real quick.
I think I got mine on sale on Amazon for like 33. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah, Seven Wonders is $32 on Amazon, and it's absolutely worth that money if you have people that are like-minded
Mm-hmm.
and like playing those sort of games. The nice thing about this game, I play a lot of board games, but the nice mechanic in this game is that technically, if you've played with everyone that's played before, whether you have three people or whether you have seven people, you're playing the same time. Like it's not like your turn and then your turn and then your turn.
Hmm.
Everybody does one turn at once and then it moves on. So it should be a 30 to 45-minute game, no matter the amount of players that you're playing with. And I think that's really, really spectacular design.
Yeah, Seven Wonders is a great game. I've found that there's no hostility that arises, at least from any of our
There
games
can
that we
be.
played.
I mean,
Ours
not
have
nearly
just
as
been
much
like,
as Resistance, but
oh yeah, resistance is a whole nother
yeah,
level. But
yeah.
even Settlers of Catan, it kind of gets personal when you're racing someone for a spot or whatever, or they're placing the Baron on your thing all the time. This game is just kind of like it's
It
a luck
can
of
be
the
very
draw.
friendly.
You gotta be crafty and kind of work around what you're dealt. It's just
Yeah.
it's a nice game to sit around and have a few bevs and just
Yep.
it's a great game. I
Yeah, and the fact that you really try to beat the people next to you and not the person across, although they do factor in. You
it
really
is
Yeah.
try and focus on who's next to you and try and shut them out and hope that the person sitting next to you is trying to shut the person sitting next to them
Yeah.
mhm.
out.
So
So,
there is this sort of, so for those of you who haven't played before, the reason why it's sort of you know, topically based, like one of Miles's creams, we we have a situation where your neighbors, you're able to buy resources from them and only them. If you're playing with seven if you're playing with seven people, there are four people at the table that you don't interact with at all. It's only the people on your left and right. And so it's very unique in that circumstance that you're not interacting with the person that may be across from you, but you know, you're only worried about the actions and the cards that are being played on the left and the right and trying to adapt to that situation. So
Yeah, it's well, that's another thing I think about Seven Wonders. You could never really feel ganged up on because your neighbors are just doing what they have to do to survive, and the people across the board can't exactly like, hey guys, let's just screw him. It's you can't really. There's no method for that to occur in this
no,
game. I don't know. I just think it's a fun game to rub
yeah,
cream on yourself and then go play it.
I was saying like topical ointment, topical. Okay, I was just okay. Anyways, other than that, as far as video games that I've been playing since basically I had kind of a busy week, and then my brothers came over to hang out. We also played this game that they really enjoy, and I really enjoy it too. It's on Steam, two games called
One cup.
yeah, right, two games, one cup called Samurai Gun and
Is this the one
Nidhogg.
you talked about a while
Yeah,
back?
yeah.
Yeah.
So these are games that, like the old N64 games or NES games or Genesis games, they're best played local multiplayer. And in the case of Samurai Gun, you can only play it, and that's Gun with two N's. You can only play it local multiplayer. So basically, how this works is it is a combat game similar to sort of like Super Smash Brothers, except that each player plays the same character with the same powers, with the only thing being cause the only difference being cosmetic. They look different. They have different sort of highlighting colors, and then you have a couple things that you can do. You can jump off walls, you can fire a gun that only has three bullets in it per spawn, and then you can swing your sword. If you get hit by a sword or a bullet, you die instantly. And the one thing to note is that you have in every game, it's very simplistic design. It's like sort of a 2D sprite game. Um, it's very fast paced. It requires very quick reflexes. And if you have a couple controllers to play the game on your computer, you will literally sink like 2 hours into this game.
Okay.
Like, no, no, one more. We're gonna play one more. Like, I'm gonna get you this time.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about the game too is, especially when you play with four players. So I have like four old Xbox controllers lying around that we just link up to the computer.
Are those wireless?
Two are wireless and two are wired.
Okay. So if I have this controller, like the wireless one for 360 or the wireless one for Windows, and I have the little
Sure. And then you can play with,
adapter. So
yeah,
I can plug in, and then it'll go like 1, 2,
and
3,
then you
4.
can play one person on the keyboard as well.
But so if
So
I had 4 controllers
you can play 4 player.
on this one adapter,
Yes.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
So it is best. I'll say it's best played with 4 people, but it's still a hell of a lot of fun with 2 people. The crazy thing is too is my brothers are really fond of this one map that's basically wide open. You have sort of like these really constrained maps, where you can get squashed by these different levers and everything. But we're all a big fan of this one map where basically every time a character dies, there's a gap in the middle of the screen. And other than that, it's basically wide open. And every time a player dies, the gap gets bigger, and there's spikes at the bottom. And so it eventually devolves into this game of, okay, I'm going to shoot a bullet at you. And one of the things that you can do is if you time your sword swing correctly, you can deflect the bullet back to them. And so it devolves into this game of racquetball where it's like, okay, honorable combat, boom, ping, 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 and then the bullet speeds up with each
Oh
deflection.
Christ!
It's an absolute blast to play local, and I feel like it's one of those games which it would actually be a disservice to put it online because it requires such quick reflexes. For example, if you both swing your sword at the same time and your swords collide, whoever swung first sends the other one careening in a direction, and they can't swing their sword again for just like a split second. So there's like this cling, and then you're like, "Oh, where am I going?" And you like shoot off to one side of the screen, and then you fire a bullet as you're coming down at them, and they deflect it back, and you just dodge it. It's a really really well designed game and an absolute blast to play. So that's Samurai Gun with 2 ends. Um, the other game that I played or that I've been playing for some time, but we played over the weekend, was called Nidhogg, which is Nidhogg. It has a very like LSD sort of like sprite style where it's really bizarre. It's kind of like an Aqua Teen Hunger Force sort of like level of craziness going on. Basically, you play a yellow character and an orange character, and you're fencing and jumping and kicking and fighting, and the goal is to get to one end of like the opposite end of the screen that you're on. And so it's just you're running left and right, and you're trying. So basically, you get about 3 respawns per screen. So basically, what you're trying to do is kill the other person and get to their side of like the Zelda screen where it like goes on to the next side. Like the next sort of slide, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you go on to that, and then you're closer to the final screen, which is how you actually win. So you're able to throw your sword at them, which leaves you without a sword. You're able to sort of fence with them and pick one like upper, middle, or lower elevation, and you can like clink swords with them, like clink, 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 and it usually ends up with somebody like disarming the other, like moving their sword up and being like, "Oh shit, where'd my sword go?" And the best animation by far is when you like catch them without a sword and you kick them down on the ground, and then you basically like you run up to them and hit the attack button, and you have to struggle like, and you just like there's a cracking sound. It's either their arm or their head. I'm not sure what it is, but it's an absolute bizarre game, and this one you can play online, and it's really really funny. It doesn't present you with a tutorial at all, so it's kind of one of those games where you're fighting against someone and you're like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" And they're like, "I don't know,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
started attacking." So you like eventually sort of learn these games. By the way, Alex, I like what you're doing with the
Yes,
with
of
showing the game.
course.
It works really well.
Does that show up in the feed or like in
Yes.
the?
Only if he talks, I think,
No, I
or
can
I'm not
select
sure.
myself.
Oh, okay, that's good. We should do that
Sweet.
all the time.
Yes, I like this.
Yeah.
Mucho grande. Like the
So
rip.
other than that, I've been trying to get into trying to get my reading up on Dungeons and Dragons
That's
because
that's a veritable tome there.
yeah, well, and this is one of like 20 books that I got used, so it's like here I'll do this just to show how deep in I am.
Giggity. Hey.
That's a quarter of what I own.
That's some
I got
reading
them.
material.
Yeah, exactly. So my brothers and I basically we've been playing the Star Wars Edge of the Empire role-playing game, and I said, well, besides for doing these little light games every now and then, I'd really like to do some sort of like campaign that has longevity. And as far as the campaign stuff goes and sort of creating stories, I love Star Wars, but I'd rather do live sort of short adventures in the Star Wars universe. I'd really like to do some fantasy, like get into the world of Dungeons and Dragons that inspired so much like fantasy video game stuff, and be able to like try and kill my little brother's characters and then send him on all these like fantastic adventures and give him like sick loot and stuff like that. So I'd like to work a little bit more on my knowledge of the game and going a little bit further in depth in that. And I can see why people love it so much. It's completely open-ended. It's completely exciting. And it's only once you get to the table with your friends or once you go online on Skype and start playing the game, that's only when it becomes real. Other than that, it's all in your imagination. The crazy thing about these role-playing games, though, is when something happens on the table, for example, when we played Star Wars and Zane came in late as a Wookiee that we assigned him and ripped a guy's head off and killed another guy in the same turn by rolling a triumph, that only happens in imagination before the game, but now it's a reality for everyone. Like that happened, like that, so with this Edge of the Empire campaign, I really love it because it has this, like open-ended, very narrative, cinematic experience. This game here, D&D, is for the min-maxers and and the fantasy lovers and the political intrigue lovers. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to get into it either with the Gamer Den, streaming an adventure that I create, or explaining sort of what's going on with my ongoing campaign with my brothers. So that's on the horizon.
Very good.
What has everyone else been playing?
I gave up on Assassin's Creed 4. I
It was only a matter of time.
well, I I was fine with the game because I like collecting stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and have myself a jolly good time of collecting. And it was all fine and dandy, except for I got to this one mission and my camera just stopped working. The game was still going, but my camera just froze. Everything else was happening. My mini map was still working, and I was like, at first
What
I
do you mean
thought,
your camera? Is this a modern day thing?
what?
Were you playing in the
What do you
modern
mean your
day?
camera? Your
Well,
camera?
like
Your camera froze?
view.
Oh, you're talking about the camera in the game,
Yeah.
right?
So
Where
like,
like the
Third
back
person
thing.
view.
Right. Got
yeah.
it.
So it's instead of like tracking, it would just freeze on one frame, and I was like, well, this is weird. Okay, and I thought maybe it was some gimmicky mission, so I was like, maybe there's a glitch in the animus or whatever it's called, and so
I
I
think it's like some of the, what was that GameCube game, Eternal Darkness? Do you
yes,
remember that
yes,
game? I
that was
think
a
it was
great
some
game.
sort of like,
Something really like,
it's not good.
but
Like,
so
oh god, you have to turn off your system and turn it on.
our save game file corrupted, yeah.
Oh
So
god.
I was like, well, all right, I'll just use the mini map to navigate. So I did that a couple times, and then I was like, I don't think this is like a gameplay mechanic. I think there's just a glitch in the game.
I think shit's broken.
So I was like, all right, well, I verified the game cache or whatever. You can just run it through like a checksum thing, and they'll figure out if there's any missing files. And one time it corrected, And then after that, it kept doing it. So I was like, you know what? I got this game for free, and it's not even worth playing for free. So I uninstalled it straight away. It's like I'm done. So other than that, been playing Fusion a lot. Trials Fusion. I'm about 56% of the way through. I have
I think I'm
all the
about there too.
I have all the tracks golded, but I got this new bike that I cannot
Oh,
figure
I'm
out.
not there then. I think I'm like mid 40s maybe.
It's awful. It's like an
Is it the
actual
Pit
trials
Viper?
bike. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
bad. Can't figure it out. I spent an
It's
hour and
really
a
tough.
half playing last night, and I finished one level. It's so
Okay,
bad.
I'm not gonna say it's like being given the keys to like an F-18 Tomcat, but it's like that. It's like
Oh
any little like small maneuver could send you like careening into a wall.
my god, it's so frustrating. So I'm kind of at a roadblock at that point, or in that game. But now I beat the latest episode of The Walking Dead season 2. It's pretty good,
I
and
should really catch up with you on all these episodic games.
yeah, I have no one to talk to about it, any of it.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it this week. I'll try and get it done this week. So we can have like a
Um,
spoiler cast.
it would just be you and I in the old-timey voice talking about video games full of piss and vinegar. Um, so basically, I've been playing those. I started on Papers, Please again, and that game is entirely too much fun if you get yourself in a character. I've been like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been kind of
It's
like,
very it's like it can be way more rewarding as a role playing experience than
yes. Because I'm on Skype with like Ray and Johanna, and I'm like, oh, well, that's cute. That's just not going to work here. You can go back to your communist dictator and be buried in a mass grave.
Why don't you quickly
Good
explain
night.
what the game is for people that haven't seen it, Miles?
Right. So basically, you're a border agent, like a customs agent, I suppose, and
Yeah.
you're sitting at like this border, and they got to show you their papers. It's like a passport and some other documentation with. It's all dependent upon where they come from, and so basically, you need to check against a variety of like issues to see if all their files are legitimate. You can check their height, their weight, their social security, I guess, the stamps on the paper, if they're not legitimate stamps. It kind of gets really complex as the game goes on. At first, it's basically like, is their birthday the same as the one that's on their passport that's on their ID? It's like really basic, and as time goes on, kind of ramps up.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. My son that I took the liberty of naming Vladimir is dead now because he didn't get medicine.
Oh,
So
because the idea in the game is that you've been uh you've been given this job by your oppressive government
mhm.
to run the borders, and if you don't do a good job in game, your family will suffer.
Yes.
So you sort of have this, like, it feels like very Equilibrium to me a little bit, like meets like Russian oppression. It feels very like Eastern European.
Yes.
Um, I don't know, maybe it was made in Eastern Europea. Is that
Europa.
what?
European.
Europa? Eastern
um,
Europe. It feels very Russian.
Yeah.
there's it. Alex has it up right now. The graphics and stuff are just very plain, and I don't. To an outsider, I don't see what the appeal is at all. I got
You
it
know what
on
it
Steam
feels like?
still.
I'll say this. You know what it feels like? It feels very much like where in the world is Carmen San Diego
That's
in its
exactly right.
feel,
That's
or
exactly
it
right.
feels like it feels very much like those old sort of point and click adventures for like old PC or Mac games.
Yeah. It's
Like,
I get
and
a
then
kick out
what
of it.
what Miles is saying about it ramping up is very true because you'll get people that are like really dodgy about how they're like explaining themselves, or they'll, for example, like some people that try to come through don't say anything, which frees up your attention to look at their identification, but some people like are talking to you and you're reading the speech bubbles, which
Mm,
takes your attention off their information, and so it takes longer to verify for sure whether they're lying about something or not. Um, And then also on top of that, your family's welfare is actually dependent upon how many people you get through a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correctly.
you have this tug of, yeah, correctly. So you have this, and then your docked pay actually
Yeah.
that would go towards your family if you screw it up and like a foreigner gets into the country that you should be, or
And it
that,
goes
that you
both
should be
ways.
letting
If
in.
you allow a foreigner in, or you deny somebody who is.
That's exactly right.
Right.
So,
I think Miles and I and Alex, have you played it?
Yes, I finished it.
Oh,
oh,
really?
I
Wow.
didn't
I
know you
haven't
had played
finished
it.
it. I didn't know. Alex is on the underground here.
Yeah, in the
Um,
dark. He's
I guess we
working for
should
us,
we
told
should do
Scott.
sort of like a cross examination on our Steam accounts before we start talking about any games. But I think we'd all recommend it. And if you can get
Yes.
it on sale, I would expect to see it on sale for $5 or cheaper.
I
And
would buy
it's
it for 10 personally.
and and it's absolutely worth it. And also, like it does like I was talking about with Kentucky Route Zero last podcast. It does command your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would be ready to sit down and play it like you would any other single player game, whether it was a console, because there is a system that you need to learn, and there is a universe that you're being placed in, and I absolutely think you'll be rewarded for giving it your attention.
This is a game that lends itself entirely to being streamed on Twitch, in my opinion. You
Oh
enjoy the
yeah, it'd
character,
be
you're
very
gonna be
entertaining.
funny. And I think this would be a good candidate for kickstarting your Twitch channel and kind of showing people your personality and your imagination and whatnot. I think this would be a good one.
Maybe that's on the docket for this week is streaming Papers, Please.
Yes, of
All right,
course.
all right, very good.
Um, And other than that, Hearthstone I got back into like a douche. I found a deck that has proven entirely overpowered because I'm now to rank 11.
No,
So
you're not.
I swear to
Really?
God,
You're
swear to
tied
God.
with me now?
Yeah,
Oh man,
I
you gotta take it into
skyrocketed.
battle tonight.
Absolutely not.
You gotta test it out. You gotta
Nope,
test it out.
it's
Give
already
the people
battle
what they
hardened.
want, Miles. Give the people what they want.
We will stream this tomorrow night.
We will stream this tonight.
Tonight?
Oh yeah, tonight.
All right.
I
Fair
got
play.
time. We're probably wrapping up soon because we're not going into anything special tonight. So
No, yeah, that's fine. No, it's about it. I've had this gaming renaissance. I wrote about it in the article a lot. Just kind of getting back to the core of gaming, understanding what I enjoy and don't enjoy about games. I beat Dead Rising 3 also.
did you
Um,
enjoy that game?
no,
I didn't either.
no.
And I didn't beat it.
I,
It didn't
I,
require me to beat it to know whether I enjoyed it or not.
yeah. Well, I felt like a sense of obligation because
Right. Because you
I
bought
was
it.
like, but anyways, that's a game I would pay $10 for. It's my price for it on Dead Rising 3.
I do
Um,
20 if you like that kind of game.
Yeah, it's just the thing that bugs me about it. You just run around aimlessly killing zombies. The mechanics feel really clunky at times.
Oh
You're
yes.
running through a crowd of zombies. Sometimes they grab you, sometimes they don't. It doesn't feel consistent. It's just not a polished game. It looks pretty dang good,
It
but
looks good, and I'll tell you what, to have that many zombies on
it's
screen,
unreal.
unreal. We're
Yeah,
talking multiple hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or more zombies
yeah,
on one screen, and you turn your camera and you come back, and they're there. Like
yeah,
it's all being processed.
yeah.
No
It's a good
problem.
it's a
Xbox One,
good demo.
Xbox One just like poops that game out. It's like
Yeah.
no problem, bro. But it does have a few glitches on like the development side.
I would say I also have come to the realization that I do not enjoy potty humor of any variety anymore. I'm just kind of done with that. Like Duke Nukem, then Duke Nukem Forever coming out, it's just like not really.
Is that why you like I'm gonna ook him in the Duker so hard? So that's potty humor, right?
It's like classily done. I don't know. All the humor, the potty humor that's in WoW is so subtle. In games like Duke Nukem and Dead Rising 3, it's way too over the top.
I'm
And
gonna make you eat your own shit.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. And then Borderlands 2, it might have elements of potty humor, but it's so craftily done. Like it's so witty and just all the pop culture references. But anyways, so Dead Rising 3 is right out. Wouldn't suggest it to anybody, but that's just me. Um, I should stop talking now.
No, but I'm looking forward to that article being released to the public. So we should get
Yes.
this website going up.
If people do want to visit our website, you can
Yeah, right now we have the.
check it out. Here's a screenshot of it. And if you,
Click on blog, Alex.
okay, and if you want, you just visit or log in, and you can check out our website for.
There it is. There's the article.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Cool.
here's his article.
Well, there you go. It's set to go. So that's for everyone that might not be able to see it right now. It's www.gamer slash or not slash
Dash.
dash den gamer dash den dot squarespace.com forward slash blog. I guess that's to go right to the blog, but it's gamer dash den dot squarespace.com.
I think I can clean up that domain once I sign up full
Yeah,
time, but I'm not
that's
positive. I need
great.
to double check on that. So we'll I hopefully have the kinks ironed out of that, and we'll be kind of up and rolling, so everyone could, if they feel so inclined to, write some articles or some thoughts. I found it kind of nice to sit down and crank out a little article, just to kind of, I don't know, it's fun to write. It's fun to voice your opinions on stuff. So in a non-ranty way, in a tasteful way. So, anyways, just keep your eyes out, boys and girls. Probably
Keep
just
your
the one
ears to the
girl.
ground. Okay, well, that I guess if everyone, unless anyone else has anything else to talk about, no?
No está
All right,
junto.
excellent. Well, it's been a relatively short session. I guess we're tracking at about like an hour 20
Hours.
minutes.
Yeah.
Uh, and hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed sending delicious gaming audio waves to your earbuds. Uh, But until next week, I'm Sean Kopp with Miles and Alex, signing off and saying good night and happy gaming to you all.